listen, and then we're going to give you a chance to ask questions, and you can raise your hand, okay? So, we're going to talk about something today that involves some of the stuff on this table. And before we get started, I want someone to guess. Raise your hand if you know what we're going to talk about. Technology. Oh, I heard it. Okay, hands up. Good job. Technology. So we're going to talk about technology. Technology that is used by farmers in modern agriculture today. Okay? So the word technology. What is technology? Like computers? Video games? We do. We think of electronics as technology, and that term sometimes gets misused. But it's a very general term that talks about taking something to modify a process or a tool so that it can either do it better, faster, more efficient, or safer. And so technology, when I think of tools, I think of stuff like this. Okay? So I got you thinking a little bit, because this is not a video game, is it? All right, so we're going to talk about that. Before we do, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Scott Welden, and this is my wife Mary, and we got 2 children about your age, and we farm with my family in Jonesville, Michigan, and we've been farming in Hillsdale County for over 120 years. So there's a good chance some of the food that you've eaten has been grown right here in Hillsdale County. So that's a picture of our farm, and we're going to get started now talking about technology. And so we talked about the definition of technology, but now I want to give you some examples. I want to show you how far agriculture has embraced technology since the beginning. So this picture here shows very minimal technology. In fact, the only thing I can see here is a truck that's kind of hidden that hauled the potato. These people are bent over digging potatoes by hand. And you know what's interesting? It looks hard, and they don't look very happy. And so technology is used so that farmers can work smarter, not harder. I want you guys to say that with me. Technology is used so farmers can work smarter, not harder. Right. So with that said, we're going to show you how agriculture has embraced technology and evolved to what it is today. And so things like horses became horsepower. You could do more with other tools like a horse that you couldn't do with your hand. And as they can haul big loads. And we still see some of that technology in Hillsdale County today, don't we? And so with that, something replaced the horse, and that was an engine. And that, you guys have heard the term horsepower? Yes. Okay, horsepower is a form of measurement. It's a unit like inches, like you get a ruler. And they took that term from agriculture and said, how strong is a tractor? Or how strong is a motor like a lawnmower? And so tractors evolved, and they got bigger. And as they got bigger, they got things like cabs on them. Now, when I was a kid, a cab 35 years ago was like, that was the best technology there was. It allowed farmers to work later. It allowed them to be safer. They could hear. And they didn't get things like dust and pesticides exposed to them. So cabs have what? Radios? They have heaters? Air conditioning?
There were lights all of a sudden now on tractors, but a horse doesn't have many lights on the front of it, right?
No. So it got bigger, and that's the inside of an old cab. But I got to tell you, that's a 35-year-old cab. Those are old. Today's tractors, like that one on our farm, actually has a different cab. And if you look at that picture, what do you see?
It's bigger.
Yeah, it's bigger cab that's 2 seats. They got nice soft seats. They got some buttons and some computers. But who loves the buddy seat? You guys ever ride in a tractor? Yeah. You have? Great. I love the buddy seat. So let's give a round of applause for the buddy seat.
So because if I were a kid, where do you think you would ride if you were a kid back and this was your dad's tractor? Where would you sit on this tractor if you wanted to ride? Yeah, you would stand, right? You would stand on the step, or you would sit where? You would sit on the wheel, on the fender, right? So, do you think that's very safe? No. What if you hit a rock? You're over, right? Your hand could get stuck in the tire, right? So that's why technology made that safer.
So, there's some things inside of cabs today too. We'll go ahead and keep going. And inside those cabs are things like this. You guys know what this is? It is. And so there's these computers, and I'll just show you one. You want to hold that? Kind of heavy, isn't it, compared to a tablet? Isn't it? Yeah. This is touchscreen technology, and so we have those inside of our cabs at Welden Farms. But I'll tell you, there's all different kinds of technology. And so, as you see the different displays, there's different brands. You'll see that they actually are in a cab for a very important purpose. They get programs just like your teacher gives you instructions. So if they said, kids, we're going to walk in, we're going to sit down, we're going to listen, we'll sit at the chair. Farmers today can use technology to program and tell their equipment what to do. And it talks to things like this. So you take a computer screen and it talks to something like this. And what is this in my hand? What am I holding? Now what's interesting is if you look closely at some of these toys, they got these on top of the cabs. Okay, it's like a little globe. What is this? Yes. Camera? Good guess. No? This is the same thing. This is a receiver. You can put your hand on it. It's called a GPS, Global Positioning System Receiver. And so GPSs come in different shapes and colors, just like people. But they can do the same thing, can't they?
Like my phone can be a GPS. If I get lost, I can find a map and it'll tell me where I'm at. Or if your mom has a little thing in her car, where when you go on a trip, it'll map where you're going. That's what this is going to do. It's talking to what? A satellite.
It's actually not just talking to one, it's talking to several. In fact, farmers today, in orbiting in the earth, they want anywhere from 6 to 36 satellites talking to this one computer. And so we use that to be very accurate. In other words, when we're in a field like this, we want to know exactly where that tractor is at. Okay? So.
And why do you think they want to know right where the tractor's at? There's somebody in the tractor driving. Why do they need to know right where they're at? Any ideas? Okay, if he gets lost, he probably won't get lost. It is possible, but why do you think?
He could like crash and nobody knows.
He could crash, but unlikely. But why? One more guess. Why do you think it's important to know where he's at?
Maybe wants to do something in one spot.
Good answer. Okay, hands down.
But he's going to come back to it, right? He's going to plant the field, and then he's going to come back and spray it, and then he's going to come back to the same field and he's going to harvest it.
I want to know right where my rows are, and so farmers know where their fields are. For the most part, when I pull into a field like this, I know where I'm at, okay? But I'm collecting data, and I'm using that data, whether it be to write a prescription, so that I have a formula on what I'm going to apply just the proper amount. So when I go in the field with my sprayer like this, I want to apply just the proper amount. I don't want to over-apply or under-apply. And so when I look at a field, I get a lot of data, and these computers collect it, and we use the data to tell a story. And the story lets me as a farmer do a better job. So, all right, let's take a little ride with Farmer Welden, and we're looking at this is actually an NDVI photo, which it's a fancy photo taken with an expensive camera from an airplane, okay? But you'll see there's different colors, and the colors tell me things. The pink and red plants in my field are sick, and they're not doing well. The green ones are growing really well, the yellow ones are growing good, and the orange ones are only okay. So when I see a pink spot in the field like that, I got a problem. And I take these pictures when the plants are just growing from an airplane, so I don't have to wait till harvest to find out if I have a problem. And then I can go out there and say, geez, something's going on here. And I'll take a tool like this, and I'll take some soil, and I'll pull a sample, just like Mom takes your temperature. She wants to make sure you're healthy. And we want to make sure our soil is healthy so our plants can grow really strong. And about 10 years ago, farmers had to wait till harvest to get their yield maps, like this, to be able to tell if they had a problem in the field. But that's a year old at that point, and we're only fixing next year. And so farmers today are taking real-time data with technology so they can fix a problem sooner. Okay? Yes?
What's the other picture?
The other one's the same field. This one is infrared. It's just a different camera lens. It was taken from the same airplane. So we just talked about airplanes and satellites and GPS.
And these are all things that farmers use.
fact, the big one right now is a drone. It's like a helicopter that doesn't have a person in it. And there's a lot of talk about drones, because drones can have cameras on them, they can have little sprayers on them, and they can fly them like a video game, and they can go right over that field and identify a problem. So I share that with you because drones are going to be a thing in the future. They're not going away. But they're like a lot of technology. If you don't use it the right way, it's not safe. And so we're having a hard time with the scariness of a drone. Because as a farmer, I can buy one, but as soon as I put it up in the ground, what if I took the camera off and I was a terrorist and I put a bomb on it? So we're actually not sure if we're going to have drones to use in the future, because if the bad guys get a hold of drones, they can be used the wrong way. So just like any technology, if it's used in the right manner, it's very good. Okay? So this picture there, it doesn't have a wheel, it's got what? Tracks? Yeah. So why do you think a farmer would choose to have tracks instead of tires? Yeah, go in the back. Great answer. Good job. You are correct. And so when you see tractors, they're typically the bigger ones, the more horsepower, because they have more pulling power and traction. All right, let's look at some other equipment. It's a spider. It's like a bounce house. You ever go to bounce zone?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm kidding. That's a sprayer. That actually is a specialized sprayer that a farmer uses in a grape field or a berry field. And so in the old days, when they sprayed, they would have a fan and they would blow it on the bush, and some of it would get up in the air. But I don't think Mom and Dad or any other neighbors want spray going in the air, do we? So we have specialized equipment with a lot of technology so that farmers can apply just the proper amount to ensure they do a good job. Because in this grape field, we don't want bugs eating our grapes, do we? No. So let's go back now.
We only got a few minutes.
Okay. There's a berry harvester. That's a sugar beet harvester. And then the next one I'll show you real quick. Foresters used to cut trees with chainsaws. And they replaced it with some technology in a tool like this that grabs the tree, cuts the tree, it lays the tree down nice and easy so it doesn't break, and then it delimbs it. And as it
takes all the branches off.
Takes all the branches and it will cut it up. So one person that's safe in a cab can now do what used to take 20 people. And that harvester right there can harvest over 1,000 trees in one day.
And a lot of times you're probably thinking of a farmer as someone who is just doing corn or soybeans or wheat or maybe berries or fruit. But a forester is also a type of farmer. And they're going to cut down trees to use with what? What do we need trees for? Paper, right?
Good
so
answer.
we need to harvest trees in order to make those other things. All right, we got one more thing, and then we'll be out of time.
Okay, so this is a rain gauge, and I used to measure how much rain we got using a tool like this. And then here about 5-6 years ago, we went to a weather station. It collects the rain, but it also tells me the wind speed, barometric pressure, the direction. And so I replaced a rain gauge in what looks like a calendar with something that I hooked to my computer that collects all the data. Do you think farmers need to know what the weather's like so they know? Yeah. We also use it to know when to irrigate. Because Welden Farms has some irrigation systems, and you guys have seen those big sprinklers out in the field? Those big metal pipes? Yeah. Okay.
All right, we've got time for just like a few questions.
Right here.
I know there's lots of questions.
Is this a story or a question? Okay. Who, what, and how? Yeah.
Back in the tree cutter, so that, cutting down all the trees, we're having on the tree.
You know what's nice? That's a good point. And what's nice? They actually replant new trees. Just like when we harvest our corn, we plant new corn the next year. So today's foresters are doing a better job managing the population of trees. What do you do if the soil is bad? That's a great question. I take what looks like a thermometer and I go get a sample of soil and I take a test. And I check to see if it's got enough vitamins and if it's got enough water. And if it's sick, I fix it.
You can add fertilizer, you can add certain
sharing that.
All right.
Okay.